Karen, Chad, Mason.
Yeah, enter Mason.
Karen and Chad had a son.
Yeah, and his name is Mason. Honestly, yeah.
Liberal Currents presents Half the Answer with your hosts, Caitlin M. Green and Trent R. Nelson.
Well, happy days are here again. And, well, you know that understanding a question is half of an answer. This is Half the Answer. And, well, my name is Trent R. Nelson, and you know that I do this thing with Caitlin M. Green. And, well, it has been such a wonderful year, and I mean that a bit sardonically. But we've had a great time, and surely it will not end until we get one more episode in. Well, Caitlin, what are we doing today? It's kind of special, isn't it? And who are we doing it with?
Oh, I'm so excited. I brought you some linguists so we can just linguistics it up out here.
Hey.
Because it's the end of the year, and what does a linguist want to do at the end of the year? Well, we have a biological urge that compels us to discuss what words rose to prominence, were coined, became used in a particularly interesting way over the course of the previous year. So here I am, like the groundhog. My body is just forcing me to get online and talk about the word of the year. So I brought some friends with me, and so I'm going to have them introduce themselves. Let's say, Savi, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Savi Namboodiripad, and I'm an associate professor of linguistics at the University of Michigan. And I don't actually study words per se. I feel like my professional interest in word of the year is also, it's not really based on my research so much as my extreme enthusiasm for the idea and also the process of it and how we do it and how we vote for it and all the ways, everything around it. I love it so much. So I'm here as a word of the year enthusiast, but
it's just like an activity. It's an activity we all do together.
Exactly.
And Daniel, how about you?
Hey, I'm Daniel Midgley from Because Language podcast, and I teach linguistics at the University of Western Australia. We are big fans of the word of the year. We have every episode, or just about every episode, we do words of the week, things that we've noticed, things that I've noticed, things that seem to be coming to prominence. And then at the end of the year, I gather them all up and we let everyone in the world vote on them for our word of the week of the year. We just had our episode. It was a bonanza. It was a smorgasbord. It was a gorgonzola of words. And so I brought a bunch from here. But man, Caitlin, you've been an absolute ferret at unearthing words that I have missed. And it's easy to miss the words, isn't it?
Yeah, it is easy to miss them. And, I let Savi look at my document and she was like, oh, I think you need to do these things. And I was like, oh, right. So it was it's a whole thing. But I really appreciate your weekly thing, because I think a lot of times we suffer from a recency bias where it's December 2025 and our memories only go back so far, and then we can only think of the stuff that was big the last few months. But when you're doing it consistently throughout the year, it helps you kind of avoid that issue.
That is true. And, it's a good reminder that the process of language creation is ongoing, that language reflects social trends, and that it's good to look back and see where we've been. So thank you for inviting me on. This is going to be fun.
Yeah. So what was your word of the week of the year winner this year?
The word of the week of the year was timu, derogatory, a cheap or knockoff version. So, for example, Australian right-wing former politician Peter Dutton was sometimes called Timu Trump because of his urge to link himself to Trump. And also people saying something like, oh, it's a bit Timu.
Yeah,
so
just as an adjective. Yeah,
love that.
That's right.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's a good one. And that is one that I had actually missed on my list, and that Savi was like, hey, you have to put Timu in. I was like, right. Because you have teenagers in the house with you right now, Savi, right? Because you're with family.
Well, not in the house right now, but I've been hanging out a lot with my niece and nephew who are 15 and 17. And so I did look over the list that Caitlin sent with them and got some good commentary from them. And they're highly online as well. So it was great. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. And like teenagers and preteens are just such delightful resources for this kind of thing because they're doing a lot of the innovation.
They are. Just as we were once upon a time.
Yeah. Right. Well, right. And I'm sure I was doing all kinds of stuff. I just don't remember what it was when I was like 13 years old.
And also, they're definitely not
okay.
going to be like, no one's saying that anymore, or that was really.
Oh, I love that. Oh, it's so old.
Great.
I have to say, one of my favorite moments with my brother, who's 12 years younger than me, was when I asked him about like, what are young people saying? This is like, I don't know, I was probably in grad school, so like 5-8 years ago. And he goes, oh, people are really describing a lot of things as whack, like in a derogatory way. And I was like, oh, wow, like in the 80s and 90s. And he had no idea. And I was like, like Whitney Houston, like crack is whack. Like, and he's like, absolutely not. I have no clue. They just organically like respawned whack.
Awesome went through the same thing. It was 1983 and everything was awesome. And then it had a big fallow period. And then in the mid 2000s, awesome was awesome again. It does that.
Yeah.
Right.
Wonderful cycles. Like wide leg jeans. It's just on a cycle.
Right. And that's not even to talk about like awesome, like 130 years ago, literally like awesome, right? Like feeling full of awe. We just lose words, meanings as well. And that's why I think word of the week of the year, it's really super important. We got to know what the words mean. He who knows what the words mean knows the history of all things.
It just trips off the tongue, doesn't it? Word of the week of the year.
I have to think every single time.
Yeah, word of the. Hang on a second. All right. Well, why don't we get started with some of the words that other organizations have named? I say other organizations as though like Liberal Currents is like one of them. Like the institutions of language.
We are now.
Oh, yeah. So Merriam-Webster went for slop. Right. So I advocated for that one last year. I was like, I think slop is going to be big. And I feel so vindicated at this time. I feel like winner. So they talk about it. They said, we define slop as digital content of low quality that is produced usually in quantity by means of artificial intelligence. And so one of the examples that I threw out there was like, why are there so many short videos of sexy cats having like soap opera storyline things happen to them? Like it's just the thing that keeps showing up places. It's like these super ripped cats, and like they're pilots and they're cops and they're having affairs and they're dying, and like their kittens are being like saved from fires, and I don't know what. It's just wild. But that's slop for sure. And then they're not the only ones either, because The Economist voted for slop too.
Very nice.
Oh, this book is a favorite of my son's. So
I love this book. For my visual aid, I put the book "I Really Like Slop" by Mo Willems, which is about a pig, and she's like offering it to the elephant, and the elephant's like, "Absolutely not. This is so gross."
We had AI slop as one of our words of the year last year. It was our second place winner, AI slop. So we kind of refrained. I refrained from slapping it in again, to your dismay, Caitlin. I believe you would have liked to see more slop.
I was all over the Discord being like, but slop, you guys. But I understand the reasoning. It is good reasoning.
Well, some words are just perennial. We did do sloppers. I was trying to get that going for people who use too much AI or use AI irresponsibly. So I think sloppers. Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, maybe mainly from you. I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's so gross. It sounds really gross. And I think I talked to Maureen Koss about this kind of thing where it's like evoking disgust. And that's kind of on purpose, right? The idea of like slop being this kind of like noxious thing, and it's just like thrown together and it's not thoughtful at all. And the people who make it and consume it are by extension gross. And I think that's part of it sort of as a feature, not a bug, right?
Very much.
Right. Well, let's pull for Slopper 2026. Slopper pejorative 2026.
Slopper brackets. It makes me very unhappy to think about as a word. I don't know why. Dictionary.com, of course, went for 6-7. So I put a couple of images up here to help me remember about 6-7 because it was featured in a song by Skrilla called Doot Doot bracket 6-7. And in it, he says the number 6-7 in a way that's like kind of pleasing to the ear. And I think that's part of why it took off is that it became like a vocal stim for people to be like 6-7. And then it became this thing that kids would do and they would never explain it to adults. And that is like what is going to make slang take off is if it is opaque to grown-ups and it like maybe annoys them how they don't understand it. Like that is catnip for kids. So they're absolutely, it was like a self-fulfilling thing. And there's a bunch of interviews with Skrilla, the artist, that they purport to be like Skrilla explains what 6-7 really means. And in it, he does no such thing. He talks around it. He'll say contradictory things because I think he knows that part of what's making it so sticky is that like nobody can actually give you a proper explanation, right?
Well, nothing is as cool as something that your parents don't like. That's like kidding 101. You know, like my uncle always used to say, like when I was growing up, no mom liked the Doors. Now everybody's mom likes the Doors, you know? And I guess for children, that's just the eternal. I mean, after the French Revolution, there were like teenagers who were royalists, you know? What are you going to do? Right.
It's the new punk rock, Trent.
Right.
And even better, there are all these moral panic articles about it. Like, oh no, this is like ruining. So that makes it even better. That makes it even more alluring and exciting.
The best thing that could happen is for people to clutch their pearls and go, is it Satan worshiping? Like that's really that's what you want.
Well, it's been really fun to have a couple of little alphas at home, especially my 9-year-old daughter, seeing her get together at a birthday party and having them just bust out in this chorus. It was just really, really gorgeous and really inclusive, which is another great thing about it.
Yeah, it belongs to everyone. My 6-year-old daughter said it, and I was like, what's happening? But of course, she goes to a school that has bigger kids in it. So like, you know, it's all filtering through them. And so one of the kind of iconic images associated is the 6-7 kid, which is this guy who's in middle school and he's got this sort of like blonde hair in what is called an ice cream haircut, which is like his head looks as though a scoop of ice cream has been like splooched onto it and then it's kind of like swooping out. And like honestly, boys had that haircut when I was in middle school. I remember it. But I don't know that it had a name. I like ice cream haircut. It's cute. Yes, Daniel.
Comedian Rich Hall, who wrote several books of sniglets, which is words that aren't in the dictionary but should be, picked this hairdo and gave it a name. This was back in the 80s. It was called a blossor. Blossor, the hairstyle that comes after you take off your hat. Now, I don't know the etymology of it. It didn't have staying power, but it has been picked as a thing as early as that.
Is that why the Mason or the 6-7 kid, like, is it that he's been wearing a baseball cap and he took it off and now it's like this? Because I've seen other pictures of the same kid and he has like lovely poofy hair, actually.
I have inferred that. I thought it was a hair. I thought it was a hat thing.
It kind of looks like it. Helmet hair, hat hair kind of thing.
I mean, the reason why this keeps coming back every generation is because children continue to wear hats and to grow their hair out longer. You know, it's just a functional deal. I think more than anything else. Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the other. Yeah. I'm just waiting for the other popular haircut to come back that in my head when I was in middle school, I used to call it the picket fence haircut, which is when you would gel your bangs straight up. Yeah. And then the other part from the back of your head would swoop up with it. And so you just have like a straight up. I miss that. I think that's very funny because it involves effort and that's hilarious to me. Like you spent time and money to look this way.
Oh yeah. I remember.
Yeah. It's a good time. So yeah, the 6-7 kid, there was just like a video of him at I think a basketball game at school, just going like 6-7, and his eyes were wide and his mouth was wide, and people just sort of like glommed onto that. And so he became a meme. And then, of course, what happens is if a person becomes a meme, they go into this whole like meme machine. And so he became like an SCP meme, which is like a horror scary meme. So that's why there's that black version that's like all in negative, and the mouth, the jaw has like unhinged, and the teeth have gotten bigger, and it's like all very scary. You have to like survive a night with like the 6'7" kid in a haunted house or whatever. So and then the other word that I didn't put in here officially that's like related is Mason, which I brought up on the Because Language podcast when I visited, because I thought it was interesting that like this archetype has now been given a name.
Sure.
Of like the type of kid that this is, right?
Karen, Chad, Mason.
Yeah, enter Mason.
Karen and Chad had a son.
Yeah, and his name is Mason. Honestly, yeah. And if you look at references to Mason, he's often suggested to be like a little Trumpy, honestly, like a little MAGA child. So so that's Mason, I guess, is like, yeah, Karen and Chad's kid. That makes sense to me in my heart. And he's always got what are they? Ice cream shorts, which I don't know if you guys know any middle school boys, but apparently it's all the rage, is like athletic shorts that have a pattern that looks like an ice cream cone with like dripping like blue or pink around it so that it looks like a melting ice cream cone. I don't know. It's, fashion.
Does it have lightning bolts on it?
I don't think so. I think it's just, like literally just ice cream.
Okay. Because I was going to say, that is actually just Gucci Mane's face tattoo. So.
Oh, right. Yeah. That could be part of it.
When we talked about it on the show, I said this is wonderful to me because it's really the first time that these little alphas have come into their own as mimetic beings. And Hedvig had said, "Wait a minute, have you forgotten about like all the brain rot stuff like Skibbity Ohio Riz?" And I thought about that. And I realized what we're dealing with here is kind of a micro generation. Alpha isn't just one thing. If you're an alpha, you could be as old as 15, but a 15-year-old and a 9-year-old are very different things. And the 9-year-olds, they are into the 6-7 thing, even if the 15-year-olds have discarded it as passé. So
that's part of why generations are tough, because really when you're children, 1 year to the next is so different, and your culture is like totally, because you have to discard things really fast because they're for babies really soon.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to say, and I don't know if any of you guys have noticed this, but when I asked my daughter, what does 6-7 mean? She said it means so-so. It means like not great and not bad, because it's like a 6 or 7 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh,
okay.
And I've never heard this anywhere else. And you do this, right? The hand gesture that's associated looks like you're saying it's so-so.
Right. Comme ci, comme ça.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep an eye on that one.
I know, right? Because never anywhere else have I seen this. It's only my own kid in my own house that was like, no, it means so-so. Okay, sure. She can't use the internet, so she has to rely on what she gets from other kids. Okay, so Oxford University Press went for rage bait. Yep, which I get. And so I put some examples to help us. Just things I remember from just being on the internet. Like there's that one girl who was like, my beauty routine involves simply dousing my face in foundation and then just blending it in forever. And it looked nuts. And then what would happen is she would cut, and then she would have a beautiful face of makeup, and people would be like, she wiped it all off in the cut. She took all the makeup off, and now she has a normal amount of makeup on, and that's why she looks good. But like it generated all this discussion, right? Which is the point. I thought of like people making their meals in sinks for content, or like on the counter top, or like or like just putting whole blocks of Velveeta in the oven in a tray with like uncooked macaroni. And then like the trad wife who said the N-word, right? She was hoping to catapult herself into, what was her name? Lily Gaddis. She was like, she's gonna totally become like a trad wife influencer, but she did not have the juice, unfortunately, and also lost her job. So that was a failed rage bait. But she got people to talk about her for a while. Good for her.
It happens. I do a lot of media stuff on the Australian broadcast, on the ABC, the Australian ABC. And what happens is they'll do a thing. In fact, it happened just in Melbourne last Thursday. They said, we're going to have Daniel Midgley on to talk about your language questions. What words do you hate? What words do you really dislike? What words should be banned? Do you have
That is
any
straight up
words? It was just angertainment. So I
Yeah.
came on and I said, if you have any words that you hate or anything you don't like, you can take those complaints and stick them in your ear. I'm not here for them. I'm not doing rage bait. So I really do try to squash that down. But it works.
I love that. Yeah. But that's how they're getting people to call in, right? They're like, oh, think of something that makes you so mad and then come to Daniel about it. Won't that be fun?
Exactly.
Shout out to angertainment, though. Angertainment is also a fantastic word. And I feel like angertainment is taking over entertainment. People just love to be pissed about stuff and like enjoy being pissed about stuff with each other.
None of us are immune too, right? Like we've all taken the bait at some point or another.
Yes.
And Trent, I have rage baited you, right? Like when I say something about history that's upsetting.
Oh yeah, when you did the art question. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you real good
That was
there.
gonna get me. Yeah, well.
Yeah, I rage baited you. Actually, something that I have talked about on this podcast a few times where I get so mad about Grok AI and why it's called that, and when he referred to it as being the grouchy robot from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is not what it is. That's got to be rage bait, right? Because he would love for people to engage with him, comment on his posts, talk to him, and be like, you complete you illiterate monster. Grok is from a different book by a different author, and like that's perfect for him, right? Because now he's getting attention. So I think that's what it is. And so that's why from here on out I will not be complaining about Grok being called Grok anymore, because it is bait and I am not a fish.
Very good. Haven't we learned from the Trump years that one of the most powerful forces in the world is shared hatred? Right. Mm-hmm. Shared hatred, getting together people in a common hatred is really, really powerful. I don't think it's long lasting. I don't think it's sustainable or productive, but man, it works.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, Cambridge Dictionary. They went for parasocial. I get it. I think it was like a relevant term, but I don't know that I don't know. It was like my least exciting one of the bunch, I think. Yeah, sure, that's a thing. But I didn't particularly notice it getting used in a new way. In fact, I found myself getting frustrated when people would be like, there's this new thing of people developing parasocial relationships with their chatbots. And I'd be like, you mean like they did with celebrities and, basically everything before? Influencers, whatever? Yeah, I know about that. It's called parasocial. So, yeah. Collins Dictionary went for vibe coding. Which I think it's a little bit niche, but it was coined this year, so that's big. So it was Andre Karpathy who said, there's a new kind of coding I call vibe coding, where you fully give into the vibes, embrace exponentials, and forget that the code even exists. It's possible because the LLMs, e.g. Cursor Composer with Sonnet, are getting too good. Also, I just talk to Composer with Super Whisper, so I barely even touch the keyboard. I ask for the dumbest things, like decrease the padding on the sidebar by half, because I'm too lazy to find it. I accept all always. I don't read the diffs anymore. When I get error messages, I just copy paste them in with no comment. Usually that fixes it. The code grows beyond my usual comprehension. I'd have to really read through it for a while. Sometimes the LLMs can't fix a bug, so I just work around it or ask for random changes until it goes away. It's not too bad for throwaway weekend projects, but still quite amusing. I'm building a project or web app, but it's not really coding. I just see stuff, say stuff, run stuff, and copy paste stuff, and it mostly works.
I feel like the word mostly is doing a lot of work there.
It mostly works, right? But like there's so much in there, right? Where he's like, hey, I'm
Mhm.
literally just conversationally talking to a chat bot and like hoping that it does a good job. And I did a little bit of I took some computer science classes. My spouse is a computer software developer. He and I both are aware of the fact that like one of the things you have to make sure of, especially if you have a big project, is like you need to be efficient and organized. And vibe coding creates a situation where you are doing the opposite of that. It is a tangled mass of code. There's redundancies, right? There's like stuff that is not the most efficient choice. There's inconsistencies, and it's going to make it so hard. Like one of the big things about making software is it's supposed to be something that anybody could walk in and read your code, and you've done a good enough job organizing it and documenting it that they could figure out what you've done, right? And like build on it or use it or whatever.
Right.
And so, yeah, the vibe coding movement or whatever, I think is pretty sad because it is definitely encouraging people to not use the skills that you're supposed to use on this kind of thing. And it could become really dangerous because for him, he's like, it's good enough for a weekend project, right? Well, is it good enough for a glucose monitor? Like, because I don't think it is. Like, is it good enough for an airplane? Because I don't think it is, right? So vibe coding, I think, was a good choice because it's representative, I think, of the way that LLMs are getting used and the way that AI is getting used.
And I think
so that's my rant about that.
Sorry, Kate.
Sorry.
I think we're seeing some themes of like Timu, slop, vibe coding. All of these things are of semantically related.
Right.
And they're feeding into each other. One could vibe code and create slop code. And so on.
Absolutely.
It feels like we're
it's like quantity over quality. It's taking your hands off the steering wheel, right? Like human involvement reduced in a way that's like a little frustrating for people, I think. And I had something else and I don't remember what it is, but that's okay. Guess what? I'm sick again, everybody. The podcast world is just on tenterhooks to hear what new virus has Caitlin picked up. And I can't tell you. I don't know. It's just one of them. It's just another one of them. I skated straight in from food poisoning in Japan. I get home and my kids cough in my face and I'm like immediately into a new one.
She was sick before that. You can go watch the prior episode. She's been sick.
Check the record.
Yeah, just go back and watch them. It's good.
Roll the tape. We're going to do a super cut of me being like, I'm so sick, you guys. And that's what it is to have a kid in first grade and a kid in preschool. It's just being sick all the time.
Battling the germs.
The whole country of Canada. I didn't know they did a word for like, but it was like the royal. It was all of Canada, and their word was maple washing, which I love. It's like so deeply Canadian, but it's essentially like pretending that something is made locally when it's not, right? Especially because there's this little sticker that you can put in the grocery store that has a Canadian flag on it that like says this product was made in Canada, but people go in there and they take photos of the shelves and they're like, Simply Orange is not made in Canada. Why is the sticker under the Simply Orange juice? And then like there will be banners on websites, and then you go look at the actual label on the box and it says made in the US and Canada. You're like, not good enough. Especially because Canada is trying to do this like tariff resistance thing of buying local as much as possible. And it makes it hard when the products are like, yeah, sure, we're from Canada, and they're not. So I get it.
The great orange groves of Canada. Yes, very famous.
Well, this is yet another example of our winner last year, which was the washing combining form.
Yes.
There's been all kinds of washing: sports washing when countries try to do sports to improve their image, pink washing when something is supposed to be for cancer research but does nothing, sane washing when the press launders Trump's comments to make him seem coherent, which wasn't very nice, but it was one of those. So washing has a long history, and this is yet another example. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice job,
washing.
Canada.
That was a good one. You guys always do a good job, but I think that was like really appropriate because it's a very, what we say, like productive morpheme. It binds to new stuff and you get a new word. So yeah, I think that was great. Did we say greenwashing? I think we did, like making something
yes,
seem
of
eco-friendly
course.
when it's not. Yeah.
Rainbow
Whitewash.
I love that.
washing. Yeah.
Rainbow washing. Yes, that was the one. I was like, I thought pink washing was, but no, rainbow washing is like when you're like, oh, are we having a PR problem? Well, look how gay friendly we are actually. So don't even worry. Keep buying our things.
And then abandon it when there's pressure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Target.
Target, we're looking absolutely.
We're looking right at you. Yeah. Okay, so now we can get into just like my words that I collected. So I made some categories. The first one I'm calling like kids today, which is the things that we think the young people are saying. And so Daniel, for you, Timu X. So we had Timu Trump. We had a Timu version of Netanyahu. That became a whole thing, especially in like the Indian media sphere where there was this big comment that got people all activated about like, what do you mean calling Modi the Timu version of Netanyahu? That was a hot take. So yeah, I can see a spike on searches for Timu, but the problem with doing Google Trends lines like this is that probably people were just trying to buy stuff on Timu, right? So it is hard to measure actually how much people were saying it's the Timu version or whatever. I think on this one, I actually looked for Timu version specifically to see if I could get like a little bit narrowed down. So there's a spike, but it's before this year. So it is good though.
I first noticed it with Timu Melania when some woman appeared with Trump on election day, but it didn't look like her. And it did kind of, but she was smiling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody said people referred to her as Timu Melania. So that was where I first noticed it.
Yeah, that's good.
I've been interested in this little like construction for a while. So before it was Timu, people would say there's other ones like dollar store version, store brand
bargain
version, bargain bin, Walmart. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Bootleg.
Yeah. Bootleg.
And then there's also like, we have that at home is the other one, right? Where it's like, oh, like,
yes,
we have Melania at home. And then it's like the Melania at home and it's this other person.
Yes, this like off-brand Hydrox thing is like very exciting to me, and I love that.
Now Hydrox is good too. Yes. I like this category; it's really useful. Yes. We can all use it. Whichever version makes you happy. I think it's funny that like maybe a year or two ago people were saying Wish, and then now it's Timu. Like it's been supplanted by a different but same kind of a company. I noticed that when they would do celebrity lookalike contests, they would call the winner like Timu Timothy Chalamet or like
that's right.
Timu Robert Downey Jr.
Could the theme here between Slop and Timu and the rest be like we're seeking authenticity?
Inauthentic, not quite right, and cheap. I think like that makes sense. So I think people are concerned with that. Also fairly actually related is the construction close enough welcome back thing. So the first post I could find of that was from 2024, which is some manga thing which I'm not very familiar with, but it was some character that they felt looked like another character, so they said close enough welcome back Meguru Bachira. But there's a lot of them, like this one of a mini pony that's being really cute at Wimbledon. And so somebody said, close enough. Welcome back, little Sebastian. That I've been seeing that a lot. I like that one a lot.
Is the meme format where somebody died the same year that somebody else was born, so we're welcoming back like Nikita Chef? Is that like 2025 or am I confounding that with 2024? That's one of my favorite formats, though.
They're easy. It's easy to mix up adjacent years, right? Because it all blends together in our brains. I like that, though. I also like RIP X you would have loved, and then like something crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Kids today word selling or sold, which means like messing up. And I found a lot of like Reddit questions of people like my age being like, I just finished a game, like Madden or whatever, whatever the NBA version, the like a video game, and on the mic somebody was like, "You sold," and I was like, "What does that mean?" And so then people have to be like, "It means like a thing that should have been fine, like a pretty sure thing, you totally biffed it and you messed it up in a way that's like embarrassing and bad." And so I found it as like a hashtag on Snapchat a lot where people just remember a time when they just messed up real bad, did something embarrassing. So this one was like remembering this one time I went on a date and the guy was driving me home and started playing music that was trash. So I jokingly said, "This song is ass. Pass me the aux right now." And he told me it was his song he was planning on releasing. Hashtag awkward, hashtag sold, hashtag selling, hashtag dating tips.
Love it.
So sorry. Sorry to that girl. She's very cute. I'm sure she'll be fine.
Yes, she will overcome.
Yeah. And then we got send and get sendy, which Trent was like, tell me everything about this.
Yes.
So it comes from the X Games, and it just means to like full throttle it, like just go all out, do the most. And then what happened is people would post videos that were like not in selfie format, so it looked like someone was filming them doing something that like they thought looked cool, and they'd be like, "Oh, my friend caught me getting sendy with like the skateboard or whatever." And it obviously looked so silly. It was kind of like those "Bae caught me slippin" memes where it would be like, clearly you staged this so that you could be like, I wouldn't just post a video of myself looking cool. It just so happened that somebody caught it. Like people love to post those kinds of videos where they're like, "Oh, it was just an accident. I can't believe I accidentally recorded this. Well, anyway, I guess I'll post it, whatever," right? So it was like that kind of thing. And then it became a joke where people would say like stuff like accidentally caught myself getting sendy. And a lot of times it would be with like food. And there's a specific gesture you have to do, which is where you take the piece of food and you put it to your mouth and then you like whip your head back to like twist it to the side and just like savor the hell out of that food. And then people would just do it with stuff that's not food. Like it expanded. And usually it involves a particular song, which is like, I may be wrong, but it feels like something going on. It's like a little house kind of like kind of a song. And it's usually the one that people are playing along to. So then like that'll become part of the setup for the joke, is that like that song will be playing and you'll be like, I know what kind of video this is. This is a getting sendy video.
Brilliant.
Do we have a sense as to why the word send was chosen? I'm still a little fuzzy on that bit.
I think it was about like the what's the name of the person that talks into the microphone when sports are happening? The commentator. Sure. Would say things like "send it," like when the person's about to really gun it on the on the track. And so that's like send it, send, and then getting sendy is the extension of it.
Sure.
So it just means like go all out. Yeah, I guess. I don't know if it's related to like this is sending me, but I don't know.
The lion does not bother himself with getting sendy.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. Was like somebody they did like a meme combination thing, right? Where he said, what was it? The lion does not realize he's being recorded while getting sendy, because he riffed on like the lion does not concern himself memes, and then also the like getting caught getting sendy memes. And then it like if you're really cringe, like if you're gonna really do a like try it really, you're supposed to like get caught getting sendy and then notice the camera and then come towards it like, no, hey, whoa, hey, stop recording me, so that it really looks legitimate, like you got caught doing something very cool. So that's the goal, which again, it's like a riff on inauthenticity, right? People are making a lot of jokes about which is why I compare it to "Bae Caught Me Sleepin'," which is those memes where somebody would post a picture of themselves like lying down with their eyes closed, but you can see in the background because there's a mirror or something that it's themselves holding the phone.
And again, like
because that's funny.
this is all sort of communicating this, as has been already noted, this like deep need for authenticity, or really this like frustration at the inauthentic that we are sort of seeing across our lives, whether it's on the internet or in real life. Can't even get
And
sent.
just recognizing the performativity and like the inherent like intentionality behind posting something, where it's like, well, if you really didn't want people to see this about you, if it weren't really part of your message about who you are, you wouldn't have posted it. So yeah, people are thinking about that a lot, I think.
It's all aura farming.
That's right.
Aura farming. Hey, that's coming up. Hang on.
Oh, sorry.
But it is relevant. It's relevant. It's for sure relevant.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, my slide order is not that smart. So next we have what the sigma, which Savi, I had what the sigma, and I was like, I thought this was an old thing, but it turns out if you put in front of it, it's new again. So what's happening here? Don't know. Some kid at some point on a recording said like what the sigma, and everybody was like, that kid sounds like Squidward. That became hilarious, and then like it was just a thing for a while that people would say, I guess. So you can see like a big spike, but it is around 2024, I think, which is interesting. But people are still enjoying it, so that's fun and nice.
And I had my youngsters singing at the house, last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you sold it on eBay. Where'd they get that from? This year, save me from tears. I'll give it to someone Sigma.
Oh, amazing.
So that's out there. That's out there.
Yeah. The whole S tier thing, like that's become, I think, a staple that you can have, Sigma is like the best possible thing that you can have. And I love that. Delightful. Okay, group 7. I don't know if you guys saw people referring to group 7. For a while, I would see these posts about like how I feel knowing I'm in group 7, and I would just be like, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't know what that is, but I also don't care. And then I finally was like, I got to add it and look it up. So it turned out it was a musician who was posting her new song on TikTok, and she was like, I don't understand the algorithm at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it 7 different times with like a number in the corner. And so like I want you to tell me which number you saw, basically, just like to get some feedback from the audience. And that in itself was an excellent content strategy, because then everybody was like, well, what number are you? What number are you? And for some reason, the 7th video got way more views than any of the other ones. One theory is that was the final one, and it was the one in which she verbally described the group system as opposed to putting it in the comment in the caption. And so it's possible that like that one had something to it content wise that made TikTok think I should push this out to more people. Hard to say, but yeah, more people were in group 7 than any other group. And then they would go around like bragging to other people, like, I'm in group 7, look at me. I saw somebody accuse it of being a very millennial meme because we just love being sorted. We just really like it when people tell us that we're a Gryffindor or whatever, or ENTJ or whatever it is. So yeah, which I get. I do get it. It's fine. So that's group 7. Do you feel better, Trent? Now you know what it is?
I absolutely do. I am group 7.
Yeah, we're all group 7 in here.
It's the most ordinary group. It's the one that everybody's in. Why would that be special? But maybe
I know you should be bragging about. Right. I'm in group 2, so
I'm in group 1. Yeah.
I got her very first one.
There was some group tribalism happening where people were like, oh, like when the groups meet, and when you meet a group 6 or whatever. So there's also, just like the random sorting created.
Like if somebody's in group 6 or group 7? 6, 7.
6, 7. Oh, very nice. Very nice.
The kids
are slowly making that thing so uncool that the kids will stop
every time.
The kids are going to crush us when they see this. They're going to be like, look at all those weirdos 6-7ing.
These old people, they don't know anything.
So November.
Well, my niece and nephew definitely were like 6-7's over because you guys are talking about too much. Like, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's absolutely right. That's the cycle. We killed it by knowing about it, basically.
It's a thing that millennials actually killed was 6-7. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, finally. It wasn't the housing market. It was this. Much less of a loss, I think. But my favorite thing is, right, my kid, she's 6 years old, and she's like, Mom, do you know about 6-7? And I'm like, well, yes, actually, I've done extensive research into it. And then she'll be like, no, Mom, you don't know. Like, well, okay, cool.
You don't know. Because it's different now.
Like, you're literally 6 years old. You're not even 7. 6, 7. Anyway, I feel that lore had kind of a moment people enjoyed, especially like combined the phrase lore drop, like just like dropping a bunch of information. So
Sure.
in one sense, it was like TV shows. An episode would have a lore drop in it where it like has a bunch of backstory. So people were talking about Stranger Things season 4 having like a big lore drop because it goes back into where 11 was. And then, yeah, they have a couple other ones where like somebody just posted like, when the lore drop is so big, you have to make a presentation with all the receipts for your friends. And then it shows them in Google Slides with just like screenshots of text to show their friends about what happened to them. Somebody else posted, when I'm lore dropping and realized none of that was normal for a 10 to 12-year-old. So like she's telling stories about her childhood and then people are just going like, oh my God, I'm so sorry that happened. And she has to suddenly recontextualize. So yeah, explain, like telling information about your past is essentially lore dropping, right?
Yeah.
That's a much better term than exposition.
Exposition. Yeah, lore is
exposition.
Lore.
Yeah.
Because you can't
more
do exposition
material.
on your life. It's a movie term. So exposition in your life is a lore drop. Love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Ankh, we've used this one before.
Oh,
so
yeah, absolutely.
Yep. This one's, I loved this Snapchat because it just goes, Unc thought he was slick. And it's this old guy with a goatee with a camera. And he's going like, I'm recording you. How do you feel about that? But the camera is turned on himself. So it's just showing his own face.
That's classic Unc right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you know, Unc, he doesn't know about technology. And then like Unc status was a big phrase. So this person, this video that I watched about signs that you've reached Unc status was very clearly made for children. Like it was very annoying to watch. It was like very silly acting. And anyway, so it was things like grunting when you're sitting down. And a lot of them didn't even make sense, but they're all like, you know, you're just getting older. So you're reaching Unc status.
Right.
I didn't put a graph of this one because if you Google Unc, the internet just thinks you're looking for UNC. For like University of North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Like, well, that's not going to help.
I will also say that Unc is not always derogatory. I've seen references to, for example, David Byrne, formerly of Talking Heads, is touring again. His team is in their blue jumpsuits doing great work. And somebody posted a clip with the caption, Unc still got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Yeah, like an old.
Unc has been for a long time sort of like a term of endearment. For an older person as well. I mean, you graduate from Big Bro to Unc, you know, and then after Unc, you hit Old Head, you know, which I don't know if we'll get to. But yeah, I mean, these are just the phases of life, Caitlin. These are just, you know,
That's
getting
right.
older.
And so here we are,
I'm in-
Unc status.
I'm in my Unc era.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Unc and Old Head are definitely from like African American language. So those are those ones that have like new prominence, maybe in different ways, especially Unc status. But those have been around for a long, long time. Yeah.
Definitely. And there's Unc allegations. You cannot beat the Unc allegations as well.
Oh,
Allegations. There we go.
Yeah. Chopped, meaning ugly. That one I've seen a lot. And in fact, when people are like talking about young people language, they'll use chopped and Unc together. Be like, I'm chopped and Unc. Ugly. Aw. This guy that is in our visual aids, he uses the word chopped a lot. And I don't like it, actually. I think there's something wrong with this guy. He's a content creator, and that's why. That's the main thing. And again, for young people, and I don't know. The whole thing gives me icky feelings. Now, the affix.
Nice.
Highly productive this year. We had huz for hose. We had chuz for chopped hose. Real nice. And then we had bruz for bros. And to me, it feels adjacent to like Izzle. I don't know if you feel
Yeah.
that way.
Yes.
I can see it.
It's
Again,
too bad
another
we
way
don't
to
have like.
feel it is to compare it to Izzle,
Yeah.
but absolutely.
I
Yeah.
know, right? That's what I'm here for. I'm just
Just a
here to
little bit of-
puncture.
Yeah. It's just got a little bit of vowel modification. Hey,
Mhm.
Yeah.
a little
Yeah,
bit
exactly.
of bit of centrality.
Take that O and drop it back.
Yep. Haas.
Huzz.
Haas.
Huzz. I don't know. Very California, actually.
It is.
It feels Kesha coded to me, again, as a millennial. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, again, very West Coasty. I'm really proud of this. This is a photo I took myself at a bar in Portland called Honeybees, where I found there was like a, they're like, they put out those sheets to color in and then you put them on the board.
Right.
And so one of them put their age as 67 and then they had the B in the picture go huzz. And so I was like, a twofer. I was out with a friend. We were doing holiday cocktail week where we were going from bar to bar and sampling the different holiday cocktails that each one had like one single one. And so you would go at like a crawl, And so when I got there and we sat down and I saw it, and I was like, hang on one sec. And I had to go take a picture. She's like, what is happening? And I was like, I don't want to explain. It's so embarrassing. But here we are. And I'm not embarrassed. I'm proud. I found this in the wild. So
A goon cave.
Goon Cave. Goon Cave had a moment for some reason. It was coined in 2022. Thank you, Drill, who posted, I have saved $53,000 by claiming the home office tax deduction on my Goon Cave. I looked up why, did gooning have any particular big spikes? It didn't. It was kind of last year the discussion about gooning was, but it's just funny to talk about, right? It's masturbating. That's hilarious. Everybody wants to talk about that and laugh about that. And so here we are with Goon Cave. It's the place where you do your gooning. The end. Moving on. Here's a slide for beating the allegations because
Yes.
We already talked about the UNC allegations. And so I had some examples
That's a top.
What?
That's a top internet term. Beating the allegations. You're not beating the allegations, Caitlin.
You're not beating the allegations. I know I've used it before. I'm not beating the allegations. So we have Slate who posted tech bros are not beating the never read an entire book allegations because of this new product called Sauron, which is like a high-end home security startup.
They are telling us something. They are telling us something. Let's pay attention to it. Palantir and Sauron. I mean, holy shit.
Don't build the Torment Nexus. I told you not to build the Torment Nexus.
This is very Torment Nexus hours.
It is.
But the thing about it is the main thing that happens to Sauron is that he cannot prevent a small hairy-footed guy from destroying the one thing he needs to secure his future. So why is this the name of our security system when Sauron's security system was bad? Notoriously so.
Because they've never read an entire book.
They did write a book.
Right.
Several. Yeah.
That's right. I'm now gonna start my own my own home defense company, and I'm gonna call it Smaug's Soft Underbelly because apparently that's what we're doing.
Oh man, yes.
And then we have Jamel Bowie, friend of the Institution of Liberal Currents, who wrote Kavanaugh not beating the allegations that he's a dumbass, which is perennial, but it was true of this week because he had a really hard time remembering what he thinks about what ICE should be able to do. And so, he kind of realized about the whole Kavanaugh stop situation that there was a problem and that he had maybe been the cause of it. So yeah, not beating the allegations for sure.
And now he can't wash off the stink.
No, absolutely not. Okay, that was the Kids Today words. Can you believe it? Here we are on words related to social phenomena. This one we could do a whole podcast about, right? Performative males. There's been a lot of back and forth about whether it's even okay to accuse this kind of guy of being performative, because what makes you a performative male is that you're overtly signaling that you're sensitive, that you're soft, that you are a feminist, that you love the kind of music that girls love, and that you like fashion, and that you have good hygiene. Like, that's all kind of the performative male thing. And it's there to say, hey, I'm not like a toxic male. I'm a different kind of male.
Right.
Not like the other males.
I'm not like the other boys. And so what happens is some of us feel a feeling that feels bad when we see too much of that performance of like, look at me, I'm a nice boy, because we have experienced extreme torture at the hands of the nice guy. And so we get nervous because we're like, are you doing this because that's how you feel and you're just like this? Or is this something you're doing to manipulate me? And so that kind of suspicion then taints the whole thing, and then people get upset, and then the discourse explodes. And like, yeah, I mean, I myself have been mistreated by men with guitars in my time. Like, who among us, right? Like, it is a thing that happens.
This haircut.
Oh, God,
Ice cream haircut. It was dangerous.
Yeah.
it was dangerous.
Hey,
Guys who are into Sarah McLachlan will break your heart.
Yeah.
Been true for as long as Sarah McLachlan has existed. Absolutely.
Yeah. So like, there is this whole back and forth of, is being a performative male just another kind of toxic trait? Or are we now policing the kinds of male that you can be and making it like harder for people to get away from the toxic male paradigm? Are we being too mean to the boys again? That's always a whole conversation. Because the patriarchy is a trap, and it has many different kind of claws. And now, look, we found another kind, I guess, is what it looks like. But I put some photos in from the Toronto Performative Male Contest, which was very fun because it injects a little silliness into it, a little self-awareness. And so men would come dressed as like their idea of a performative male, and they were competing to see who was the most. And so like, it always involved a book of some kind that was like leftist literature or feminist literature, bonus points for if it's intersectional. Like, it was so good. And their big headphones playing, girly music, and their tote bags and their matcha tea, just having a good time and laughing with each other. So that was kind of nice.
Okay. You know what? Let them center on, let them coalesce onto a few signifiers, and then the rest of us performative males can just get on with it.
Right. Exactly.
Undetected.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nope. There's only two kinds of guy you can be now, and that's Andrew Tate or this, apparently. So, pick your lane.
So there's 3 genders? What?
The 2 male genders.
That's right.
2 male genders.
There's women, there's toxic males, and there's performative males. We all know that this is just science. This is basic science, Daniel.
There are 2 genders, male and political. That's what's really going on.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's performative males. It definitely was a phrase that got used a lot, especially in the second half of this year. Actually, exclusively in the second half of this year, right?
Seriously.
Yeah. Amazing.
The Rapture got a moment. That was fun.
Oh,
we had just like this weird vacation in the late September where we're like, sure, let's all talk about the Rapture for a minute. And it was because a South African preacher went on like a podcast and was like, yeah, no, it's totally happening. I know it for sure. It's going to be September 21st or 22nd or whatever. And then the day came, and then nobody got raptured.
And, this is again bringing us back to, 2010, 2012. I feel like we had rapture parties, and, there was
Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And Harold Camping way back in 20 years ago. So good. I haven't had a good rapture since then. I've lived through so many, but none like that.
Yeah. This one was exciting because it involved TikTok, and there were a lot of like mostly white women who were giving you like rapture tips on like what to wear on the day and like what kinds of things to leave behind. One of them was like had ordered a bunch of Bibles and was putting notes on it that were like, it's not too late for you, and just like scattering them all over town for all the people like me who were left behind, so that we'd have some hope, which is kind. Thank you.
But does
Why would they have?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
Does
Trent.
anybody think the rapture? I feel like the rapture is one of these things that like nobody doesn't think that they're going. You know, like anybody
Right.
who believes that it's coming is going. There's nobody who's like, I can't wait till everyone else is gone, right? So I can like have all these Bibles. It's a strange phenomenon.
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, if you really believe rapture is coming. Well, there was a whole thing where people who were like ex-evangelical or were in the
Right.
process of deconstructing were having to deal with extreme feelings of anxiety and guilt and fear, and like just all kinds of stuff was just coming back to them that were feelings that they had felt as children being raised in that culture.
Right.
And even though they knew in their brain that like they don't really believe in this anymore, those kinds of feelings are still there.
Yeah.
So when something like this happens, it all just like comes back, and so they have to call their therapists and like friends and cope with all those feelings that get brought up again.
Rapture sounds a lot like Calvin's elect, right? Like everybody who believes in this is part of the elect, and so therefore like they are going. And that is a somewhat, I feel, reassuring belief system, that like the rapture is coming, and luckily like I'm part of it, like whoo-hoo, like, and so is everyone else who believes what I believe, and this is reassuring, for sure.
Everybody from my church is gonna go. We're all gonna fly. Well, it gave me a chance to revisit one of my favorite TV series, which was The Leftovers from HBO, which is such a good show. So that was a good time, with like a really disturbing theme song. At least the first season did. The final season had a different theme song, and I didn't like it. But the first season was this like beautiful, haunting instrumental piece, and it just like panned along a painting of people being raptured and the people on the earth like reaching for them, and it was like really filled me with a cold, deep dread every time, and it was so effective. Such a good show.
Yeah.
So anyway,
why would they have dressing tips on what to wear for the rapture? Because you're just going to be sailing right out of those clothes, as soon as it happens.
Apparently,
right?
Some of these people really felt like you were going to keep your clothes on, and you should wear pants so that when the people who are left on the ground look up, they don't see anything they don't want to see.
Next word, upskirt.
Yes. Yeah, you don't want to. You don't want to surprise anybody with an upskirt, so you should wear pants on Rapture Day, so that everyone is spared that.
See, they're still thinking about us. They're still thinking about us.
Yeah, which is really kind.
Really.
I noticed the word glazing having a moment.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
That's just like complimenting too much or like unnecessarily. That's a good one. I liked that.
The amount of glazing that Isaac Newton got for saying that things fall is one of my favorite uses of this meme, for sure.
And what's the original context for glazing? What's the original context? Please.
That's a good question. I'm not actually sure where it came from.
My understanding was that it was a sexual term, and I now will read my list of words that never should have escaped their sexual context. Glazing,
yes,
raw dogging, flights and so on.
Yep.
Circle jerk.
Raw dogging life.
Yep. Jerk, money shot, fluffer, and sloppy seconds. We should just have corralled those into the sexual domain and never let them escape. But now here they are.
You're such a prick,
everywhere.
Daniel. I love every single one of those right. The American Dialect Society did raw dogging as the word last year.
Yes.
And I had so diligently made this beautiful thread of all the possible candidates of words and explaining what they were, putting up like the Google Trends results for them. And then when it won, I made a post where I was like, this is what raw dogging is used to mean today. And I got the best internet response, which was a bunch of people being like, this dumb bitch doesn't know that it's a sex word. Where I was like, obviously I know what it is. I'm just saying like what people are using it for this year. But like so many people got to be so smug about it, to be like, oh, she's so clueless. She's so old and so clueless. I was like, oh my God, do I waste the energy being like, excuse me, internet, I do actually know that it's about sex. Anyway, it was a fun time.
You don't.
So yeah, glazing, that makes sense. It's a sexy thing because of course that translates to like, just like, you're so great. Anyway.
Nope.
The Epstein files. People enjoyed talking about those. I very much enjoyed perusing Jmail. I don't know if you guys went on there.
Yeah.
But it was like, it's like a simulator for, imagine that you're Jeffrey Epstein logging into his own email account on like August 15th or something, 2019. And so it just has, it's like his inbox. And so you can be like, you can search like, what did Dershowitz say to me? Or like, what did
Noam Chomsky say, huh? What did Noam say?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God! You know
what
what,
did Lawrence
guys?
Krauss say to me?
I'm a little bit tired of our intellectual thought leaders being literally in contact with a pedophilic cabal. I'm tired.
Right. After it became public knowledge what he was up to.
Brave words, Daniel. Brave words.
Brave words.
By the way, not imputing any wrongdoing to old Noam, but you know, I didn't become friends with Epstein after his conviction, so what do I know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You didn't write him a lovely little happy birthday note, years after he was convicted for enticing minors across the lines.
So he never asked.
Yeah.
The nerve.
Odd. Here's a really political sciencey one, Glonzo. I don't know if you guys heard about this one. I don't think it made much of a ripple outside of essentially Blue Sky, but people use it all the time there. But basically it was opinion haver William B. Fuckley who coined it, and who said, if 25% of the population believed that a creature called Glonzo caused high power prices by chewing through transmission lines, any competent politician would be negligent in not trying to find a way to exploit this. This doesn't mean that these people wouldn't be fucking, and then that's a word about being unintelligent. So it became this thing of like, even though something might not be true, if everybody's freaking out about it, shouldn't you like use it to your advantage? And so for one example, it was actually Epstein, or like not Epstein specifically, but the like sex trafficking cabal that the QAnon people assumed was happening. And so like people were saying, shouldn't you be taking all of that QAnon energy and being like, oh my God, we did it. We found him. It's Trump, right? Like, wouldn't that be like a good use of that energy? And so that's what the discussion was about, is like, do you do a Glonzo thing? And so then the phrase Glonzo hunt came about, where people would say like, well, if you really want to energize people, you should propose a Glonzo hunt.
So it's the opposite of saying that everything is a distraction?
Yeah, right. Is being like, oh, are you upset about something? Let's freak out about it, but in the way that my directionality suggests that you should.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. There we go. I finally got to aura farming.
Hey.
Last.
Yeah. This is a good candidate, I think. It's got a really strong spike in 2025. My first interaction with it was that Indonesian kid on the boat. I don't know if you guys remember him. But it was a rowing competition. What the way that these particular boats work is you have the rowers, and then you have a guy on the front who's a child. It's because he needs to be light and short. So he's on there and he's doing like a dance, and it's like to the outsiders, people were just like, I'm not sure if this is just for vibes or if he's like communicating information.
Yes.
To the guys, but whatever it is, the dance he's doing looks so cool, and he's got his fresh outfit on. He's got his sunglasses on because, like, you know, it's a rowing competition on a river in the summer, so but he's doing this thing, and there's like a cycle motion and like hands, and it looks amazing. And so everybody just got obsessed with this kid. He became part of the like brain rot sphere. You can get 3D printed like figurines of him now. He's the Indonesian boat racing kid. But in that case, it was like effortless, cool, caught on film and propagated so that like you just have this. But for a lot of examples of aura farming that I found, it seemed like it was like a try hard thing, like inauthentic, trying to get attention. And so for my other example, I put Benson Boone can't stop doing backflips on stage.
Right.
And people got sick of it. And they're like, just enough aura farming. We get it. You can do a backflip. Like, do something else.
It's Cindy.
In the historical communities, aura farming is oftentimes like brought up when they show like Edward the Black Prince's like black suit of armor, or Charles V's like super duper like engraved like suit of armor, right? Like this sort of effortless coolness that we don't always associate with the past. So
yeah, it's like show offy. It's attention getting. And I think it is again with performativity, right? People are really concerned about performativity.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
A good point.
Okay, Labubu's
and Lafufus. I recently learned about Lafufus. Yes.
So they are these little dolls. I cannot get behind them. I hate them a lot, actually. But they have a little vinyl face and vinyl feet, and then like fuzzy bodies. They have little bunny ears, and they come from this thing called the Monsters, which is like a Scandinavian thing. Anyway, they're these little dolls, and apparently everybody's just glommed on to specifically Labubu, which is one of the characters from the Monsters. I don't get out much, but I was recently in Tokyo, and I saw a lot of Labubu keychains on a lot of backpacks, for sure. And like that was a thing in Tokyo that I very much enjoyed, actually, is like everybody's belt loops, backpacks, bags, whatever, had little plushes on them. And I got myself a Totoro one. It's very fun. I'm enjoying wearing it around. It gives me joy. But yeah, Labubus were certainly a category of that you could have there. And then Lafufus, they are fake.
I wish that I could be around in 100 years so that I could see all of the people doing exactly what we do to dolls that are 100 years old. Like, oh my God, these are scary, like
so haunted.
Haunted dolls. Like, this is a terrifying thing. This is not a pleasant looking thing. We just know it through the context that it's like a fun Scandinavian deal. But the future's gonna be like, this is creepy as shit.
Yeah. But anyway, there's a lot of discussion about how to tell the difference between a Labubu and a Lafufu, which is a counterfeit Labubu. And I read them all very dutifully, and then immediately forgot everything because I was like, actually, I don't care at all about this. But they were like, oh, you're going to find some like imperfections. But then I read one that was like, obviously real Labubus have imperfections, but Lafufus have like worse ones. And I was like, well, you've already lost me. Like if I find an imperfection. But like one of the main points, they were like, well, if it seems like it's a really good price, then it's not real. I was like, cool. That's so fun. And that's why I included a screenshot of the Pop Mart website where you can see that one of these dolls is $115 because I think that's important to know. And you can get the keychain like mini version for like $35 or something. So if you don't want to break the bank, you can get like the small one. The one thing that I think really made Labubus go totally off, out into the stratosphere is they engage in the blind box trend, which is like if you're a Pokemon fan, you'll be very familiar with the blind box, right? Which is that you don't know which Labubu is in the packaging. Right. So it's an opaque box. You pay the money, you bring it home, you unbox it, perhaps for content.
Which is
perhaps you have a Labubu haul. Perhaps you've bought many of these boxes and you can unbox them all for content. And then, of course, it's like that thing that always happens with the Pokemon cards, too, which is like, oh, I already have this one. I was looking for a different one. Better go back and get more, So
I just got rage baited. I just got rage baited something fierce because because I hate the unboxing trend. Oh my God, I hate it so much. It is just the most absolutely smarmy, like grotesque capitalism, like that one can imagine. Like, watch me buy something and open it and enjoy it. You're not doing it. I mean, it is just so crass. I hate it, and I hate it, and I hate it, and end of rant.
You got rage baited. It happened. It happened to you. It'll happen to the rest of us.
I want to point out that I love that Lafufu is fake Labubu. It's not Timu Labubu. And so
Yes.
we do have, again, sort of this like off-brand market.
It's beautiful.
And you can always tell the Lakikis because they're spiky.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
For
In
that
this
one.
joke,
Yeah.
everybody look out.
Thank you.
Very nice. So yeah, Labubus. They were very trendy. Good job. This is kind of a mean-spirited one, but it did have a moment, and that's Mar-a-Lago face, which is the idea that for especially the women, but I put Matt Gaetz in there too, because for some of the men as well, there's a particular way that when you're doing modifications to your face, you will end up looking very similar to your compatriots in the MAGA movement. It's like a lot of them are actually just going to the same person to get their procedures done, but also like there's just an aesthetic, right? And so you need kind of long, wavy hair. You need full lips. You need big fillers in your cheekbones, right? You need tan. You need to get tan. But then what they're, if you ask them in a vulnerable moment, like, what are you doing exactly? They will say, like, there's a way Trump likes us to look, which made me kind of sad to think about.
This is gender affirming care.
Well, yeah. And then the other thing is that if you go too far, if you look like too, like Laura Loomer suffered this, there were actually rumors in the White House that Trump stopped wanting to hang out with her, not because she was too out there or like too ideologically wild, but because her plastic surgery looked bad and he didn't want to look at her anymore, which is, it's just sad.
That's such a metaphor for the whole age, because these people are wrecking themselves on the rocks of this guy.
Yep.
And he's not going to be around forever, but they still will live on, and they'll have these choices. It's really metaphorical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
I'm also thinking of the authenticity and inauthenticity theme. And I know folks have written about this with Mar-a-Lago face in particular, but it's like reveling in the inauthenticity. The idea is not to look like yourself, but more or smoother or extra, but it's to look a way that is not, that is a few steps removed. Yeah. So I mean, like embracing
and if you remember that Vanity Fair photo shoot that happened very recently, like it was very intentional. I think that it was was it Caroline Leavitt who the photo of her was so zoomed in that you could see the injection sites from her filler. And I was like, there were so many ways to not have that happen. Like even an opaque lip color would have covered that up, right? But the photographer wanted that there because it's like it's part of the culture of being in the movement, is all of this body discipline that you're doing to yourself. All right, this one was a fairly recent one, but the idea of going no contact went really viral in late November when Oprah did a podcast episode about going no contact. Because what happens when you talk about this is that you get the people who have, like, they're adults who can't talk to their parents for whatever reason because the parents have been abusive. They've realized that like there's no fruitful way to be in contact with my parents. So they will come out and be like, here's my story of why I have gone no contact and why that's been right for me. And then you also get a bunch of parents who are unable to accept those reasons that go out and are like, my ungrateful ass children have been torturing me for no reason. All I did was love them, right? And then that is actually such a huge, actually like rage bait, right?
Yes.
Content hype where everybody's engaging with that, and people are getting in fights in the comments, and that's so good. And one of the reasons why the Oprah episode in particular was especially a powder keg was that she had on a panel of like therapists and experts, one of whom was a guy who, I'm going to find his name real quick because maybe I didn't put the name in. Anyway, she had this person on who, Dr. Joshua Coleman, who was on the panel of experts talking about how like kids today are too quick to go no contact with their parents, and that like there's real abusive situations where it's the right thing to do, but there's also like a lot of times where it's actually really damaging, and that there is a positive way forward. Come to find out, his daughter is no contact with him. And so his whole brand is about like figuring out ways for adult children and their parents to not be no contact, and highlighting kind of the pain of these estranged parents. And so I looked around and I found that there's actually a lot of organizations like that. So there's like Parents of Estranged Adult Children, and there's PEAC is one. PEAK is a different one, Parents of Estranged Adult Kids. Like there's just a bunch of these. And it's all about like all the pain. It's these like support groups of parents who have experienced no contact with their children, and are either trying to come to terms with it or are trying to like brainstorm ways to circumvent it.
Right.
So yeah, people really wanted to talk about being no contact, which I get. Okay, category 3. Language of the fash. So Trump had fun with tariffs. You can see on the Google Trends graph like a bunch of spikes, which they all correspond to times when the tariffs were supposed to kick in, and everyone was like, "Wait, what is this going to mean for us? Like, what is this actually going to do?" It's been a mess. Everybody hates it. It's been going very badly. Even a lot of like Trump allies are like, why is this happening to us? Why are we having to deal with this?
They're not beating the allegations of having never read any economic literature at all.
Right.
At all.
Right. Well, and they made like, they used AI or like a lot of the time to figure out what the tariff rates should be, but they were asking it really silly questions like, well, like how much do we buy from them? Okay, well, like let's make that into a percent, and now that's the tariff. And it's like that math doesn't make any sense. So yeah, Trump went up and he put up this like big poster of reciprocal tariffs, and it's just full of numbers that make no sense. So good job, Trump. OPSEC had a moment. It had a real moment.
Oh,
I enjoyed OPSEC.
Yeah, me too.
And so, yeah, that's the time when Jeffrey Goldberg accidentally got added into a signal chat of like
Signal
defense. Signalgate,
of the worst
where
people
they were
know.
discussing the strike. The Houthi, what was it? Houthi small chat, PC small group. And he got to watch them in real time, and then like later on truly realized like, oh yeah, these were actual strikes that happened, that they were planning right in front of me. Right. And so in this signal chat, while they had a journalist accidentally added into it, Pete Hegseth wrote, "More to follow per timeline. We are currently clean on OPSEC. Godspeed to our warriors." So OPSEC, short for operational security, they were not currently clean on OPSEC, actually, as it turns out.
I'm really fond of this style of shortening. It's very Soviet, isn't it? Instead of taking an acronym, you take the first syllable of relevant words, like Komsomol or, Komintern or things like that. I love it.
Yeah.
It's
really fun. So honorable mention for the emoji combination of the fist and the American flag and the fire, which Michael Waltz put in after they, did an airstrike. Just very unserious people.
These people are 12.
Yeah. Everybody is 12 theory vindicated yet again, right? Yeah. Okay, here's a super fascist idea. The
Mhm.
concept of the heritage American.
Mhm.
And I have a couple of like related terms with this, but basically, heritage American is a phrase that was developed to differentiate real Americans, by which we mean white Christian Anglo-Saxon Americans, from paperwork Americans, which are people who earned their citizenship through the citizenship process,
Hyphenated
or hyphenated Americans, which are like Irish Americans and like Greek Americans and Italian Americans and like Asian Americans, like the not real ones. And if you look at like who's talking about heritage Americans, it's straight up fascist, obviously. But they also don't always agree on what a heritage American is. So the Ragnar Lifthrasier, which is this the Substack guy, his idea of a heritage American is like, were you a Puritan? Like, were you among the very first generation of like Anglo-Saxon immigrants to America? And if not, you don't count.
Hey, Caitlin, is by any chance speaking English sometimes considered in that definition?
Yeah, you have to be an English-speaking American. Yeah.
I think that's too broad.
Funny, though.
Like, it's not. That's not enough. Speaking English
That's
is
not enough.
Right.
Not sufficient, but
But
necessary.
like you can't even be Celtic, right? You can't be Irish, you can't be Scottish, you can't be German, weirdly, even though like where did the English come from? Anyway, not important. And yeah, but like so for him, it's like you have to have been among the very first like Protestant people who set foot on American soil. But for a lot of these other guys, it's like, have you been here since the 1800s is good enough to be a heritage American. But this guy, he had a bunch of different types of Americans that he was like, oh, these are, so you could be a heritage American. That's great. You could be a hyphenated American. That's very bad because you have a dual loyalty. And we all know what's meant by dual loyalty. And in fact, yes, indeed, the word Jewish is present several times in this essay by this guy about what a heritage American is. Right. Because, yeah, if you're at all aware of your origins not being British, that makes you suspect because you're actually also loyal to that old country.
Right.
But not the British one. The British one's fine. And then there's something called ally Americans, which are people who fall in these other bad categories, but they are white supremacists, so it's okay. So that's somebody like Stephen Miller, who is a Jewish American, and so he can't actually be a heritage American, but he's doing great things for the movement. So, let's be friends with him. He's an ally American.
We'll see how long Kash Patel or Vivek or whoever can, stay in
Vivek's having his own problems, hey?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I think they probably kicked him out of being an ally.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is they're all like contingently allowed and they're arm's length and like, yeah.
Provisional status. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, I the first version of this that I saw was paperwork Americans versus Christian Americans, which is like a weird dichotomy because of course there's a lot of Christians that are not from America. But I was with my mom at the time and I was like, paperwork Americans, and she was like, but that's me. I was like, yeah, that's right. I don't know what they would do with her because she is English, so that's good, right? But she didn't, she's not one of the ones that came.
Shout out to my grandma. These are just simple paperwork Americans. No big deal.
Not real ones, actually.
The use of the word heritage is interesting because, heritage, inherit. It's like you didn't do anything to earn it. You simply inherited it. And people often squander their inheritance as well. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I would say these guys are in that group.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like it brings to mind that idea of being so proud of something that somebody before you in your bloodline did, and it's like, okay, but what have you done? How about you contribute to society? Well, I don't have to. I have a Substack about why my race is better than the other races. Doge. That's from the first half of the year. Everyone's now forgotten about Doge. A moment of respect and apology for the actual Doge, which was a sweet
Right.
little Shiba Inu from
Mhm.
Japan who belonged to a kindergarten teacher who put a photo of her on her blog, and people just really liked the way that the dog was like looking to the side, and it was so cute, and it became a meme. That dog lived to 18 years old and only died last year. So
Aw.
she was well loved and taken care
Yeah.
of. I know.
Yeah.
What a sweet baby.
Make
And
those.
unfortunately, Elon Musk, who has become meme, as he will tell you, decided that he was going to create the Department of Government Efficiency, which is an acronym to Doge, and he was going to do whatever he was going to do.
There was a
And here we
time
are.
when the Doge was in Venice, and now it's all over the
Right.
internet.
Right.
And
There you
Take
go.
it back.
let's take
You're
it
right.
back.
I said the dog was the original, but really it's
That's right.
my bad.
Shout
That's why
out
we
to
have
the
a
original
historian.
Doge.
So I'm spending the year in DC, and people have been using the term, "Oh, did you get doged?" Or "No, don't worry, I
Oh.
didn't get doged,"
Wow.
to figure out if they still have their jobs or not. So I wanted to share that.
Please, yeah,
That's so good.
I love it.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of conversion right now. We have
Yes.
a noun into a verb, so that's great. So yeah, a lot of people got doged, but
Mhm.
as it turns out, recently revealed, they saved negative money, so that's really cool.
It was always a
By
con.
like
Always.
they just disrupted so much and like messed up a bunch of people's lives and made a bunch of
Our
things
data.
not work anymore,
Yeah.
and it cost more than they
And it-
cut.
And it killed people. It killed thousands, millions.
Hundreds of thousands.
And
Yeah.
it's continuing to, right? Like that's that, yeah. The USAID cuts, the NIH cuts, the
Mhm.
public health, all of that has just obscene human life costs.
Horrendous.
Blood is on his hands. It is so wild that he was out there at CPAC with a red chainsaw when literally he is a mass murderer.
Yep. Yeah.
Wild.
The
So
textbooks
that's
are
Doge.
going to be lit. I know that's not a word that we use anymore, but the
Yeah, you
textbooks,
old man.
they're going to be fantastic when the children get to read, like, man, like we got to read about how like the Vanderbilts and the Rockefellers, right? But they never brought like a red chainsaw on stage and like performatively like
Really not.
destroyed things. Yeah, it's ishy.
I'm
Did
really,
they ever wear their son like a human shield around their head? No.
I'm looking forward to the Wokenberg trials. They're going to be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great time.
Yes.
Anyway, Groiper became a thing for a minute
Mhm.
there.
Yes.
This actually
Yeah.
really makes me mad. If you look at the Google Trends, there's a huge spike in late September. And that's because when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, there was a bunch of speculation that the person who did it might have been a Groiper. There were a bunch of articles. What is a Groiper? We actually did a podcast episode, right, describing what a Groiper is, while
Yeah.
also saying like
Mhm.
that's not who it was, right?
Right.
And Daniel, of course, on Because Language, you guys talked about a Groiper because it was a word that was of great interest. What I'm mad about is the fact that that spike is just a spike, and it goes back to flat at the end of that moment of speculation, because the Groypers and Nick Fuentes and the white supremacist young persons movement that he represents continues to be a threat to this
Right.
country. And so I wish that we had figured out a way to have more momentum after that peak of interest, because it still bears discussion, right?
Right.
And we had Nick Fuentes talking to Tucker Carlson and getting like mainstreamed and normalized in that way.
Right.
It's dangerous, and he is looking to grow his audience, and it's working. So I hate all of that.
Joe Rogan and Shane Gillis were just talking about him the other day. They were saying, this kid, right now you couldn't imagine him, running for office, but give it 20 years, right? And that is
Right.
like horrifying, terrifying.
Bone chilling.
This is a Nazi. This is a Nazi, plain and simple, and they are they are acting in bad faith. I think it's easy to say, but they are certainly not aiding the society in any way. That's for sure. We could have some real discussions about groypers, as we did with Amanda, as we did, I believe, with Marissa as well. But instead, I suspect we'll get another spike when something else dreadful happens instead.
Yep. Yeah, the object permanence is not strong, so that's unfortunate. Great replacement was getting discussed in big ways. Hang on one sec. Anyway, great replacement had a moment. White genocide had a moment, especially when Grok, for some reason, wouldn't stop talking about the Boers and South Africa. Like, you could just say hi to him and he'd be like, you know, something about this reminds me of the white genocide.
Oh, wow. Anti-racist is a code word for anti-white. That's funny because I thought anti-woke was a code word for anti-black. I wonder which one's more correct.
Oh my gosh.
Ugh.
Gee, I wonder.
Ugh. What a world. What a
This
world.
part's no fun, man.
What a
Yeah.
world.
I know this section is the worst. Sorry, guys.
Let's lighten it up. Oh no, this one, the R
No, we're not
slur.
going to. In fact, we're going to make things worse because
Okay.
the R slur was under discussion a lot.
It's made a comeback.
Coming back.
Yeah, so
we had one. We
Elon-
had an episode of Talk the Talk on this back in 2010, and at the time,
wild.
it was struggling to come back, but a lot of people were successful at pressing it down, and there were campaigns saying don't use that. So there was some kind of consensus forming, and it was disappearing, but now it's coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
So yeah, I read a paper that said that after January 5th of this year, which is when Elon Musk used it as a comeback when he got insulted, the usage of the R slur tripled on Twitter in the aftermath of him using it. So he's definitely part of normalizing it. Excuse me.
I mean,
We've got Dave Rubin.
Yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, saying the word is back and it couldn't be too soon. We got Matthew Iglesias saying, because he won, I can say this behavior makes them all look like R slur, which is it.
Why don't we have some honor? How about that? How about instead of because he won, I can do this? How about it's like because I have a sense of moral certainty that we just shouldn't use language like this to describe people?
Well, because Trent, empathy is an exploit. Come on. With the program.
Empathy,
you're right.
Parasitic empathy, et cetera, et cetera. So I talked to Constance Grady from Vox because she was writing an article about the resurgence of this word. And one of the things that I wanted to tell her that I have noticed from looking at the sort of political discourse is that it is a really quick and effective signal that you can use to say, I am not woke, I am not PC, I am cool and dangerous and edgy. And so that's why you get people who are supposed to be on the left using it too. To be like, no, I'm not one of those like cringing, scolding woke people. I'm cool, actually. And that's just so gross.
Yeah. And I think, the fact that we had this term that was used very widely, like when we were younger. And then I teach a class called language discrimination. I've taught it for like a little less than 10 years. And during that time is when like it was really not used anymore. People started saying R slur. That was not happening like, 15, 20 years ago, as we sort of like, indicated already. And then there's this nostalgia I feel for about like 10, 15 years ago. And
again, with the cycles, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're seeing that in a lot of these trendy things and the echoes of that. So
this would be a great one to have die. Let's not brook any of that. We don't need to truck any of that.
To your point, Savi, I brought this up before, specifically actually to Caitlin, that our generation, this was a more widely used word when we were younger. And it seems to me that probably between 2010 and 2015, there was like a concerted effort to sort of like banish the use of this word. And I kind of have drawn a line to that and like the woke, anti-woke backlash, right? Like people who use the word are the types of people who used to use the word and then got frustrated that other people like stopped using the word or said that it was no longer reasonable to use. And so this is sort of like, you know, the revenge of the Sith in so many ways.
Right. And when we taught about this word, we would use it as sort of an example of, well, this was a, you know, successful case of a community coming up, and we all decided,
right,
we're not doing this anymore. We can demonstrate that this is harmful. We can stop doing it, right? So it's like changing the Washington football team. Like there's some of these cases that have happened during the time that I've taught this course of, oh, you know, the change gets made. And then, and I know folks have written about this with like, you know, the backlash to woke being basically like, oh, people were mad that they had to do a DEI training, or, you know, no one was actually stopping anyone from saying these things. People just decided that that was not something that we wanted to say, right? We all decided, no one told you you can't say that. People just didn't say it. And there was this narrative that we were all told, you can't say this anymore. And now we're, you know, asserting our freedom to be a terrible.
And just like with the sort of cancel culture panic, it's this idea that we're not only should you be allowed to say it, but nobody's actually allowed to think less of you for saying it.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
What thought control? Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So
often, like freedom of speech in our current context means like freedom from being judged by others. And that is simply a freedom that I don't think has ever existed. And nor could it, you know, how could it, you know, like suspend what you think of me and I'll just say whatever I want. And then you say whatever you want. And of course, I'm not going to suspend what I think of you. I'm going to call you woke. Right. So it's unfortunate that we live in the time we live in, but I suspect that like if we closed our eyes and went back 200 years, like we'd see an analogous situation to some degree. There's always somebody frustrated that we're not doing it like we used to do. We're not able to do the talk that we used to talk or say the thing we used to say. But as you mentioned,
things aren't the way they were when I was 12. Damn it!
Right, but as
the very basis of fascism is going back to an imagined, homogenized past that never existed.
Right. So. When everything was cool.
Right.
Everybody used to do the thing I did, and now they do different stuff, and I don't like it.
And that shouldn't be allowed, actually, because I believe in freedom. And so other people shouldn't be allowed to do stuff that I don't think is cool.
There you go.
Awesome. All right. So let's get to category 4, which is like, I called it like language of the resistance, like the kind of things that people who don't like Trump were saying. So the phrase leopards eating faces had a resurgence, which was coined in 2015 from a post by Adrian Bott that says, I never thought leopards would eat my face, sobs woman who voted for the leopards eating people's faces party.
Bravo.
And
bravo.
Yep. Yeah, it's an all-timer, really. And so the idea that leopards will eat your face, like the thing you voted for will happen to you, has become really huge. So a really recent one is Marjorie Taylor Greene keeps coming out and being like, do you know what? I think the GOP is like pretty misogynist. And people being like, yeah. No, that, yeah. You helped.
It finally affected you. It finally affected you.
Yeah,
exactly. There were some less than savory uses of leopards eating faces this year. Like, for example, when people in the American South experienced the consequences of the Trump presidency, people would be like, well, that's just leopards eating your face. And then other people had to come in and say, hey, just a reminder.
That's not
like,
good.
There's a lot of people in the South that did not vote for this. It is not okay to be smug about them having a really bad time.
No.
So yeah, there was a lot of leopards eating faces discussion, meta discussion. The use of egg as like a mass noun was so fun.
Love this.
A lot of like Trump take egg, Trump make egg cost more. Shiv Ramdas was like, I gave some democracy to get more egg, and now I have no democracy and no egg. People were taking photos of like the empty shelves in the grocery store of like the egg shortage. It was wild. Trump take egg.
Yeah, I like that one.
Leopards
did.
ate them.
Leopards,
Yeah, the leopards
yeah.
ate my eggs.
Yeah, the lion does not concern himself with the
How
eggs
many
being
there are and how much they cost. Masterful gambit, sir, has become a phrase that you can use to mock Elon Musk for doing something unfathomably silly. So that comes from 2022. Timmy C wrote, Elon Musk slams dick in car door. Musk fans, masterful gambit, sir. Because they will just like compliment him for whatever.
Yeah.
And so there's a bunch of examples of like just him being silly or him like losing his companies a lot of money or him doing horrible things to the government. And then people being like, wow, 5D chess. Am I right, you guys? He's such a genius.
Really 5D chess. Yeah.
Yeah. He's so impressive, actually. And like maybe what he's doing on the surface looks very stupid, but what you have to remember is that he's a genius. And so there you go. All done. So yeah, when he told somebody that they have tiny testicles instead of like actually arguing back against their point, masterful gambit, sir. Why not?
Top job.
The Kavanaugh stop. That's a phrase that was created in order to draw the parallel, right, from Brett Kavanaugh and his assenting argument and his like ridiculous claim that excuse me, that if you are a citizen of the United States and a CBP or ICE agent comes to you and accuses you of not being a citizen, that it will not be much of a burden or a problem for you to just show him that you are a citizen and go about your day and nothing bad will happen to you.
Yep.
Over and over and over and over.
And moreover, predicated on the fact that if you look Hispanic, are speaking Spanish in public, then you don't get to do that. You don't have the freedom to do that. You are able to be stopped.
That's right.
You know?
It's the new Santorum. It's tied it to him. I love this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's a lot of evidence that actually he is aware and upset about the fact that his name has been tied to this. And that's great. I love that. Love that for him.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Maybe he shouldn't have written a gigantic document.
You signed it, buddy. You signed your opinion. So
it's in the record.
Yeah.
They are.
The concentration camp has been of interest to people, unfortunately. There's some spikes there because I think people are literally Googling, like, do we have those? Is that happening? And the answer is, yeah, a little bit. Definitely. And yeah. And the expose on CCOT definitely got people talking about it as well. And so that's why one of the most popular Onion headlines this year was historians quibbling over exact definition of concentration camp, sign of healthy society. Because, yeah, unfortunately, we do have people being like, well, it's not really, it's like a processing center, actually, or it's like a holding cell for you really bad dudes. So it's okay.
Yeah, that's what the Nazis said too. Yeah, we're processing them. Absolutely. And yeah, all the same language, just back redecorated in new bows and stuff.
Yep. Reminds me of the first Trump term when Kellyanne Conway had to defend the administration against, because AOC had called the tender age care facilities as concentration camps, and she had to go on and defend it. And I loved it because every day that you have to explain why what you're doing is not a concentration camp. Yeah. Every day you have to do that is a day you're not winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. And that was really true at the time. Like, she was getting no end of flack for that. So that's great. On the theme of calling a spade, eugenics, people got interested in whether something was eugenics or not. Amazing, because a lot of what was happening was eugenics. So I put, for my visual aid, I put the annoying glasses couple, the pronatalists, right? The Collinses. and their whole ideology that we should be outbreeding the other like undesirables basically. And then JD Vance at the March for Life, he gave this really disturbing speech about like saving Western civilization through breeding. And outbreeding the woke and everything, and that's so gross. And people were like, "Hey, I think that might be eugenics." And you're right. It is.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And not surprising that we also had the R slur in the same year.
Incredible stuff, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great replacement, white genocide, the R slur, all together. What do we have? Eugenics, right?
Yeah.
Taco was big. It was Trump always chickens out. The libs were making a bunch of AI slop about it. I picked one to show you guys, which is Trump in a chicken suit. There's a lot where like his head is melting uncomfortably into a taco shell. It was like really weird to look at, but yeah, there's a lot of AI slop of that. A reminder that my buddy Jack, who has been protesting at the Portland ICE facility, the reason why he's dressed as a chicken is because initially he was dressed up for a taco protest, and he picked a chicken suit because Trump always chickens out. But it was really about tariffs originally. Was that he won't actually like do it because he's such a chicken. Yeah. And it turned out when he learned about that people were saying taco at him, he got real mad. And again, we love it when we make him sad. Yeah. And nastiest question, he said.
The investment community got into taco trades where he said he was going to do a thing, but you knew he wasn't going to do it. So you could, when the market dumped on advanced news,
you should bet on it not happening.
Bet on it not happening, load up, and then it'll pop again. So those were taco trades.
Amazing. You're short selling the president's bravery, basically. Perfect.
Follow through.
Yep. Antifa. Everyone wanted to talk about Antifa. There was a round table on Antifa. Andy Ngo got to go on TV again, which is a crime.
Yeah.
He got to talk all about his book, Unmasked, all about how bad and yucky Antifa is and how they tried to kill him with milkshakes. See our episode on Andy Ngo with the Posting Through It guys for more information. Nick Sorter, who is exactly as off-putting as you might think in person, was on TV a bunch talking about it because he fell in a hole one time. That's Antifa's fault.
Masterful gambit, sir.
Yeah, masterful gambit. I think I showed Trent, but I found a video of Nick Shirley, who's another one of these like far right influencers. He was doing a video at the Portland ICE facility, and he like panned around, and I found myself in the background. And like I hadn't even realized he was there. I didn't know he was there until I found myself in the background of one of his videos. I was like, oh gosh. Yep. So I was that close to him, and I had no clue. Antifa. Everyone wants to talk about Antifa. Similarly, Anti-Fascist Frog had people wanted to talk about that. The inflatable movement, we love that. The Antifa Frog has now blossomed into what's a group of frogs called? A colony of frogs? I don't know.
I can look it up if you want.
A happening.
Frogs Together Strong.
Let's go to that one. Frogs Together Strong. So that's from Rise of the Planet of the Apes, when Caesar says apes together strong, and it became a thing. You can see my sign in the background, Frogs Together Strong.
A group of frogs is an army.
An army? Oh, that's amazing.
But colony
super soldiers.
Yeah, and there's also a knot of frogs. There's a bunch. It's appeared different ways. Let's see.
I like frog congregation.
Frog congregation. Let us congregate. Did you know that I was Antifa Frog for Halloween? I was.
Oh, yeah.
I was too. And my husband dressed up as Toad, which is the girlfriend of Antifa. And if you remember, they said they caught the girlfriend of Antifa.
They caught the girlfriend of the leader of Antifa, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice job. Nice job.
So, that's delightful.
Handed out candy with my little amphibian hands.
Oh my gosh. It's not easy if you're inflatable to like grasp.
Oh, this is one of our favorites.
Yeah, stove touching. So this is the tendency to do the thing that's gonna hurt everybody. Just to see if you get away with it, basically. So yeah, friend of the show, Ned Resnikoff, wrote "We're Doing It, Folks," about a like major stock market tumble in anticipation of a bunch of tariffs.
Yeah.
And yeah, he says, I prefer this burner to the one labeled major war. Hopefully by placing both hands on this one, we can avoid that one.
Earlier,
So yeah.
Earlier in our half the answer lifetime, we did say touch grass or touch the stove. And
Yeah,
so
make a choice.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, touching the stove. Yikes. The horrors became a cute way to just like refer to generally 2025 and what it is like. And I really appreciated this post from Molly Templeton, who on Blue Sky said, I have a little plea, and it's this: please keep posting about things that aren't the horrors. I am not saying to not look at or be informed about the horrors. What I am genuinely kind of begging you to do is keep posting about books and movies and sunsets and pets and joy, please. Which, yeah, we on Blue Sky do have a tendency to just like get bogged down in the horrors and forget that there's other things about life. And we need the mood boost to keep our energy up to continue to contend with the horrors.
The horrors is super duper British and Irish islands, right? The troubles, like straight
the
to troubles.
The horrors.
Yeah.
Yep.
No kings.
Yeah, the Google Trends results were so funny because it's just two huge spikes around the weekends that the two major No Kings protests happened. They were huge. They were so huge. And everybody wanted to talk about them. And they made Trump so mad that he posted an AI-generated video of him dropping poop on us, which I think is a win.
Yeah. Yeah. That was...
Yeah.
That was...
Even his closest allies were embarrassed about that.
Yeah, but there is no embarrassment. I mean, it's what he does. It's classic Trump. If he's losing control of the discourse, which he did at that time, just do something outrageous, roll around, fall off the stage, do anything, and get the attention back on you, because attention is power. We need to learn this.
Just act wild in some way and see if you can get the attention back. Hey, rage bait, right?
Yep. You can never go too far.
No.
Right. And then the Canadian version of, We Are Resisting was, of course, Elbows Up, which is a hockey term, phrase that is about, it's like a defensive posture that's also a little bit offensive, and it's a little bit maybe like questionable rules wise, but it's, if you feel like you really need to, you gotta put those elbows up. And so Mike Myers got to say it on SNL at the very end, and so that is kind of why the US Americans kind of paid attention to it. And yeah, it was really huge at the beginning of the year because of the whole tariffs thing, but I believe people are saying it more and more still. I don't think it's over.
Rivalry. Hockey's back. So
you're right. Everyone wants to talk about sexy hockey. So sexy elbows up is coming. Great. And then just a moment, a honorable mention for all of the words that might cause you to lose your NIH or NSF grant money. I have the whole list here. It's remarkable. Like obviously stuff like affirming care is going to get you kicked off, of course, because that's ideologically unacceptable. If you happen to say the phrase assigned at birth, or assigned female at birth, or assigned male at birth, that puts you at risk. If you say at risk, that puts you at risk. If you say barrier or belong or bias, that can put you in danger. If you put the phrase breastfeed next to the concept of a person, that can put you in danger of losing your funding. If you say chest feed, that's very bad. Don't ever do that. Pregnant person, again, you can't do that. That would be gender inclusive, and so therefore you're in danger.
I was so confused about about pregnant person. I absolutely could not understand it until I realized that it's like, oh, pregnant woman.
Yeah, you
not
have to say
pregnant
woman.
man.
Because there's no other kind of person who can be pregnant, obviously. And
Right.
if you act like there is, then you're actually a monster.
They really are afraid of words. They really
Yep.
are.
Right.
Yeah.
Words must be powerful.
They must be, because apparently, yeah, there's a whole thing where you can't use them if they're too woke.
Well, it seems to me that
Um,
they're afraid of, as was noted earlier in this discussion by I think literally everybody, language is changing constantly, constant evolution. I
Mhm.
mean, from week to week, from month to month, from year to year, and this seems like something that somehow they are frustrated about.
yeah, they don't like it. Well, yeah, and like, they have this whole thing about freedom of speech and ideological like freedom and diversity of thought and viewpoint diversity, et cetera, et cetera. But then as it turns out, there's this whole list of so many words that they do not want to see in your
Mm.
science grant applications.
Yeah.
And a lot of those words have to do with gender, race, wealth, and yeah, social issues that they really actually want to prevent being researched.
I have a cheat code, and that is just add "for us" to everything they say. We want freedom of speech
Yeah.
for us. We want to
For
make
us.
America great
Yeah.
again for us. We want to. This wokeism is going to destroy society. The one that's been created for us. That's I just mentally add that, and it works every time.
It's beautiful.
I
It's
like
so
that.
effective.
It's a good.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I will say I had the great experience of writing like a final report for my NSF grant on January 30th. It ended right in time, but I couldn't use any of those terms. And even before that, the year when I was awarded it, I had to have a special meeting to remove the word collective from the title, because that could be something that would have caused, potentially Republican congressmen to dox
Wow.
us. So we already had to do that, during the previous administration. And then I got to write a lot about accuracy and trying to not use any of those words to describe what we used our money for. So it was a
Amazing.
great example of my freedom of speech, just right at work. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And scientific
We like-
accuracy at work.
Yeah. Listen, we don't like Trump. Sometimes he says things that are fun to repeat, and it's very annoying. So category 5 is Trumpisms.
Yeah.
The first one being everything's computer. So good. Basically, I don't even know if you remember, but he did what essentially amounted to a Tesla ad at the White House, where he
Yeah.
like went and looked at a bunch of Teslas and was like, wow. And he gets in there, and if you get in a Tesla, it's essentially just an iPad in there as like your
Everything's computer.
console. And so he was like, wow, everything's computer. So
Everything's
good.
computer.
And everything is computer, right? It just is.
Everything is computer.
Yeah.
Transgender for everybody.
Mm.
For some reason, he keeps saying that. And it's like, sir, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean transgender for everybody? But it's just a phrase that comes prepackaged in his brain. He loves to say it. It can only good happen was also fun. So
That was legendary.
It was about like pregnant people not being allowed to take Tylenol, and he was like, just don't worry, nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen, and people just love saying that. Poor guy. And then early on in April, he made up a word, and it's called panicking. I don't know if you remember this one. It had no staying power. Boy, it did not make it. But he said.
This was one of our words of the week of the year, and it was the least popular. Nobody wanted it.
Yeah, because it didn't stick. It didn't have the juice. So yeah, he truth socialed. The United States has a chance to do something that should have been done decades ago. Don't be weak. Don't be stupid. Don't be a panickin. A new party based on weak and stupid people. Be strong, courageous, and patient, and greatness will be the result. It's like something a toddler would say. It makes no sense.
They can't all be
Just
bangers.
don't be a
can they?
panickin.
No, they can't
Well,
all be
no.
bangers, Daniel.
Yeah, they can't all be everything's computer, unfortunately.
Not everything's computer.
Yeah. All right. This one I wasn't able to make the slide because the power went out at my house a bunch of times. So that's fun. but I'm alive, and that's okay. But I love the American Dialect Society's category of euphemism of the year. I think that is so fun to be like,
Yes.
what are some of the things that people said that they were clearly trying not to say the thing that it is? I just love that. So I created a little list of euphemisms. Hang on one sec. Euphemism. And I'm just going to have to read it from my own list. And then I think we have to wrap it up because it's late. Sorry, guys. Okay. First thing we had was the phrase awkward gesture. I don't know if you remember the awkward gesture.
Oh, yes.
But that was,
Oh, that gesture.
yeah. When Elon Musk was up on the stage and he did what can only be described as a Nazi salute, the Anti-Defamation League called it an awkward gesture, which was very upsetting. But it's because Elon Musk was an ideological ally of theirs. And so they were like, well, we can't just like call it for what it is. We're going to call it an awkward gesture.
If not Nazi, why Nazi shaped?
Well, yeah, exactly. And then after that, of course, a bunch of different gross Nazi people took the advantage to do the same gesture and be like, oh, I'm just doing a Roman salute. It's like my heart. I'm throwing my heart out to the audience. It's its own thing.
The Roman salute excuse was the funniest shit in the world because I'm sitting here thinking, like, my brothers, did you not know that's what the Nazis were saying they were doing too?
Yeah, that's what they were doing.
Yeah. Like,
Where do you think they got it from?
Just an awkward gesture. It was just awkward. He's so awkward, actually. Do you remember? He's very strange, and that's because he's a genius, not any other reasons. Another one that came up early on was the phrase rapid unscheduled disassembly, which is kind of a joke term, and it's fairly old actually, from like various different engineering fields, but it's what you say when your thing breaks.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it experienced a rapid unscheduled disassembly. And so SpaceX tweeted, Starship experienced a rapid unscheduled disassembly during its ascent burn. And when you look at the video, it's like, yeah, it fell apart. That's what it did.
First applied to rifles way back when.
Really?
Oh yeah, because if you like messed up with your rifle and it just went like, and you're like, rapid unscheduled disassembly of my rifle. Yeah, I loved that one. RFK Jr. suggested that we should have something called an accountability center, which when described turned out to be essentially a prison camp for mentally ill people. And people with addictions. So that's where the accountability comes from, is we're going to lock you up because you're addicted to something. Or if you're homeless, that's another reason for you to need accountability. So that's pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
Trying to get ahead of some headlines about the labor market being really, really bad. White House economic advisor Hassett suggested that there could be a little bit of almost quiet time in the labor market, which I really loved. Quiet time.
Have a little nap.
That's what you do when your child gets overstimulated. You let them have a little quiet time. That's not what our labor market was doing, actually. And then my favorite euphemism that's been a euphemism forever is to just refer to somebody as controversial when they were Bridget Bardot, for example, like when they were like an extreme racist. You're like, a controversial figure, in fact, a complicated legacy. And divisive. Yeah, just like opinions are divided on whether the things she believed were okay or not. I love that one so much. So yeah, I didn't get to all of my categories. I'm so sorry, but that is all we have time for today. There were a bunch of other AI ones, but I feel like AI slop is probably the most appropriate one. Also, AI psychosis has been in the news a lot.
Psychosis, yes.
Yeah. People have been talking to the chatbot and getting convinced of some kind of grandiose belief, or getting talked into going through with something that's self-destructive, falling in love with and like blowing up their family because of falling in love with the chatbot. These are all phenomena that have made the headlines this year. And so that's another one that I think is probably a good contention for a winner. So the American Dialect Society is going to vote on what they think should be the word of the year in a week-ish, right?
Yep, that's right.
Are you guys going to be there?
If it's online, then I will be. I have been to one of those in person a couple of times, and they are wild. They're so much fun. The committee does a great job.
It's like a conference room, and there's a bunch of people in there, and they're all fighting for their favorites. And then it's combined. It's like sort of grouped into categories, and there's big votes. And it is lots and lots of fun. People do get very worked up. It's very exciting. And so we will, of course, report on what the winner is from that one. What do you guys think should win this year?
Probably slop.
Slop, yeah, because it was close last year. It just didn't quite make it.
That's
the more we talk about it, just because there's so many things that are related to slop, like 6-7 and Temu and things like that. So slop feels like something that brings those things together. Yeah. So I didn't come in with slop, as I was kind of side-eyeing slop starting out, but I think you kind of convinced me. Yeah.
We've detected some patterns. So I think slop is a good one. I will feel so vindicated if that's the one this year. I want to thank you guys for discussing with me, because it's one of my favorite things to do at the end of the year. It feels like such a good bookend for the year to just look back on the trends and the conversations. I hope you guys have an excellent new year, and I hope that slop wins, and we will see you guys in 2026. This has been, what is it called? Half the Answer, where understanding a question is half the answer. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Half the Answer, presented by Liberal Currents. You can find Half the Answer anywhere you get your podcasts. Liberal Currents is an entirely listener and subscriber-funded publication, which includes programs like Half the Answer and Neon Liberalism. So, if you like what you've heard and wish to contribute, you may do so at liberalcurrents.com and through Patreon. And remember, understanding a question is half the answer.